Welcome to Take 5, a podcast brought to you by Newleaf Training and Development. Each edition is an inspiring interview with a leader worth listening to. Enjoy!
Hey, I'm Paul Butler. I'm one of the client partners at Newleaf Training and Development, and I'm so delighted to be joined today by Belinda Morris, who is the founder and CEO at Peoplescape. Belinda, can you believe it? For nearly 17 years now, we've focused on our core purpose of helping people and organizations better manage themselves, lead others, and grow business acumen. I just wondered, what are your recommended best practices to help people and organizations be their best? But please start, though, by telling us a little bit more about your organization, what you do, and who you serve. So over to you, Belinda, and I'll wrap it up when you're done.
Thank you so much, Paul, and thanks for having me here. I'm delighted to be here and that our purposes at Peoplescape and Newleaf are so aligned. I founded Peoplescape 10 years ago after living and working across 4 continents. I was privileged to work in human resources executive roles in many different companies, actually, different countries, different cultures. And so when I arrived in the US, I ended up forming a company, which is Peoplescape, to help small businesses build cultures that I knew were possible. And how did I know that? Well, my story is really that, you see, I grew up in South Africa during the inequality and strange ugliness of the apartheid regime. And at the time growing up, and of course I was a child, everything was apparently fine, or so we were told, but it didn't quite feel that way to me, because under the surface, I knew, even as a child, that so many awful things were happening. And I couldn't do anything about it then as a child. But I believe that this background inspired my commitment as an adult to build better cultures elsewhere, and eventually in my sphere of influence in our workplaces. So if I go even a little deeper just for a second, personally here, you see, I'd worked with my dad in his pharmacy when I was a kid, especially on weekends, helping as his shop assistant and feeling very grown up. And I saw how my dad treated his employees. I even rolled my eyes at times. But I didn't realize how unusual it really was, that he knew everybody's name. He knew all their families, what was going on for the families, and what was important to each person. And I also saw how the pharmacy's employees worked really hard, and they really cared about the customer service that they gave. So from there, I realized that even, that was possible. And so at Peoplescape, we partner with business owners to build the success of their people and their cultures and the cultures in their companies, and help them achieve that with the belief that it's really possible. And so whether it's people strategies and policies, it may include recruitment of their leaders and training or coaching of managers and leaders, how to be successful and how to develop others. That's really what we do. So whether it's a person or an organization, to answer your first question, I think there are really 3 key things that are most important for us to be our best. So I would say number 1 is be real. So what does it mean to be ourselves? What that means. Who are we? What do we stand for? And who are others? And allowing others to be themselves. And that's where the diversity, equity, and inclusion comes in, which ultimately leads to the sense of belonging that employees feel because they're able to be their true selves. And so if we know who we are and we get to know who others are, then that's how we're really being real, and the other things that come with that. So I'd say that's number 1, being real. And then number 2 is valuing relationships above all else, which is really what we do at Peoplescape. And it's become known as what one needs to do. Even, you think about what is the most unauthentic role that we come across in business. And often it's the poor salesperson who gets branded as, you're selling me. I don't want to be sold. You're a salesperson. But even salespeople today, the good ones, know that it's not about trying to push the sale. It's about having a relationship with the person that you're speaking with and knowing what they need, what they want, and then helping them to get that. And it's about building that relationship. So I think that whatever area of business you're in, really caring about and valuing the relationship above all else is what makes us successful. The third one, and I don't know how I'm doing on time here. Perhaps you can tell me, do I have another minute or two?
You're good.
Okay. Well, I wanted to give another anecdote on that one, if I may, because it really applies around relationships. At a client recently, we helped the owners build their retention of their employees from when it was around 30% when they came to us. And over 3 years, culture takes time. We ended up at over 78% employee retention. And there were numerous aspects to the culture building that we were involved in there. But what I worked on regularly with the leadership was how to listen, how to think about performance delivery, how to think about, to really know the people, who they really were, and to meld what the company actually wanted and needed them to do with what the employee wanted to do and what inspired them and excited them. So building the roles more around the people than the company, which is kind of a bit avant-garde, but with that in mind, or in the back of your mind, thinking from that perspective made a huge difference for people. And then the last point I would say to answer your question is being in balance, that work-life balance thing. And with accepting who an employee is as a person, obviously leaders can begin to accept that those people have a life outside work. And so really respecting that and trying to shift our mindsets as leaders and business owners ourselves to, it's okay if it doesn't happen today. Not just for our employees, but for ourselves as well, because we have to walk the talk and role model having that balance ourselves, don't we? So really, leaders need to create policies that offer an understanding of people's personal lives and a place that encourages them to explore their passions outside of work. And so we need to ask ourselves, in our company culture, is it one where we can access and ping our employees at any time of the day or the week and expect them to answer? Or do we allow our employees to unplug and refresh and give them time to enjoy what they love outside of work? So this is key to the success of your employees and therefore the success of your business and yourself.
Belinda, thanks ever so much for that very clear and pragmatic summary about how to help people and organizations be their best. And I just want to give a message out to the subscribers as well to keep an eye on the events part of our website for the free complimentary sessions that we do on a regular basis. So again, Belinda, thanks for taking a few minutes with us today. And could I offer you a virtual high five?
Oh, I'd love one. Thanks, Paul.
I hope you found that interview useful, and if you did, feel free to rate, review, and share this podcast. We'll be back next week with another episode, and we also invite you to check out our other weekly podcast, Going the Extra Mile, which is sure to lift your spirit and encourage you in today's working world. Bye for now.